Yo, yo, what's up, everybody? What's up, Mitch? Good to see y'all. Welcome to season finale, episode 30. Cannot believe it. We've made it this far. Show's almost been going on for a whole year. Episode 30. Wow. Very special guest today, Jon Woo, Louisville music legend. I cannot thank him enough for giving me this opportunity to do this interview with him. He's got an amazing story of how he came up, how he got started. Some of the people that he worked with. Unbelievable. It's gonna be a great show. But how's everybody doing? Mitch, what you doing today? Appreciate you tuning in, bro. It's gonna be a classic. I work tomorrow. I'm starting work. We start a later time in the day, so I get to sleep in now. But I'm still trying to get up at a decent time, I would rather have to do things in the morning before I go to work than go to work and then come home and be tired. So I'll probably get up, make some beats, do a little workout, and then go to work. We were starting at 8, and now we start at like 11:45. So that's a considerable difference. 1 second. John is calling me. Hold up. Hello?
Hey, my bad. How do I join, bro?
No, I'll FaceTime you from my computer. Yeah, all good. All right, peace. He was wondering how he joins. I was like, I'll just FaceTime you. Super simple. I got you, John. Don't worry. But yeah, without further ado, guys, let's bring him on. So John, a little bit on him. He was born in Radcliffe, Kentucky. From there, I'll let him tell y'all. But he's a producer, a manager now, mostly, and a big connect for musicians and artists in Louisville. So let's get him on. Let's see. All right, let's give him a ring. Yo, John.
What's up, my brother?
What's going on, bro? Welcome to Lush Louisville.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate you doing this and giving us this time. It's gonna be a legendary show. So, how you doing today? What you got on?
Oh man, I've been out here cleaning up this car all day, man.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah,
It's a Saturday, good day to do that. It looks like, is it raining there?
raining though. Yeah.
Yes, same here.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at this point anymore with this weather here.
Was it cold this week? It was chilly here, man.
I mean, we got snow. It snowed.
Oh
here.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, we had a chance of snow, but it never actually snowed. But
Yeah, it
yeah,
snowed here, man. So I ain't surprised, man. But it's whatever. But yeah, I had to get the whip cleaned up, and I do like a serious detail too. So
okay, bet. Nice,
yeah.
bro. Well, yeah, man. So I appreciate you coming on here. This is going to be a big show. But I kind of gave everybody a little bit of a rundown background on who you are.
Right.
Hold up here. Let's get your FaceTime up here. Whoops. There you go. But if you kind of want to go ahead and just give everybody a little rundown on your background in Louisville and where you were born and where you kind of grew up, things like that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm originally from Radcliffe, Kentucky, which is a tiny town past Fort Knox.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up. That's where I'm from. I was born and raised out there. Grew up out there for most of my days. Traveled to Louisville pretty kind of frequently at a young age. But yeah, that's where I'm from. But then I ended up moving to Louisville probably early 2000s, like super early, like maybe 2001, something like that. 2001, something like that. Or no, it might have been a little bit after that. Probably about 2004, something like that, 4 or 5. But yeah, in between that, had many travels,
Yeah.
like that, and ended me up in Louisville, Kentucky, and here I am to this day, over 20 years.
Yeah, that's crazy. I guess it is. It's been just about over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So when when did you get involved with, where did you kind of start, I guess, with music, and how did you kind of get interested in that and want to do that?
Um, I started I started with music uh back in rap. I used to rap, so that was the first thing I did. I got into rap because I used to get in trouble. I got put into this in school suspension program, and we couldn't sit and we wasn't allowed to talk to anybody else. So basically, this other kid that I knew used to write raps and shit, and we would pass notes, and he would pass me a note with a bunch of bars written on it, and then I just was like, let me try to make a rhyme or whatever, and I wrote a rhyme and I sent it back to him, and he thought it was dope. Then I read it one day and I was like, yo, this is actually kind of fire. I was like, maybe I should like try this. You know what I mean? So that got me to start like messing around, just writing raps, and that led to me going to an event that my boy is a dude named Ken Eversley DJ at, and there was a girl that I had a crush on. She was there.
Oh.
Yeah, she was in the party, and but at this time I'm trying to impress her and do all my fly shit,
Mm-hmm.
and I already thought I was fly because I knew the DJ. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So we down there and we have this cipher, so they start passing this mic around. This kid named Floyd, he just starts dissing me in front of everybody, and for no reason. And I'm just sitting there like, oh man, not in front of the girl. And the girl's looking at me like, everybody's looking at me like, what are you gonna do? And then my boy Ken, he handed me the mic and he was like, hey man, you better say something. And so I just started freestyling. And I had said a line about being half black, half Korean. Uh, and the whole room just went crazy, right? And so, like the following week, I was like the talk of the school,
Mm-hmm.
for a day or two. But that really inspired me because I was like, damn, maybe I should really try this and really try to put it down on tapes and things like that. And that kind of got me into recording raps or whatever. Um, and that's the start of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the very beginning of it. And then I used to go to Ken's house and we used to rap in his basement. He used to play instrumentals, and we used to just sit there and freestyle all day. And I thought I was a serious rapper at that time.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I thought I was like legit serious, and I'm in the industry.
That's,
So
yeah.
yeah, so that's how I got started. And that slowly turned into that led to me becoming a producer, and then led to where I'm at now.
Yeah, I
But
was,
that's how I got my start.
yes. And so when you, so you, that led to you being a producer, and what was the process like of producing? What year was this when you kind of first started producing?
Man, let me see. You know what? A good indication would be there's a song by The Roots, and I don't know if you can look it up real quick, but there's a song
Yeah,
called
yeah.
The Roots, and what's the song called? Distortion of Static. See what year that was.
Just
Distortion of Static.
1995 it was released.
That's when I started making beats.
Okay. So what
So
was that, how did, so that's like an indication, did you like do something with that song, or like how did you just,
yeah, so what happened was, back then, like today, what's crazy is like since I'm still in the music business, just seeing how it's evolved, right? Today, artists can find producers anywhere. You know what
exactly,
I mean?
exactly.
I mean, you can go to YouTube, download beats, whatever.
Facts.
Back then in 94, 93, you rapped and there was no producers. You couldn't go online because there was no internet, right? So,
Jeez, yeah.
yeah, imagine that. There was zero internet. So, I was like, but I really want to rap, and I used to buy tapes, like singles, and on the B side they would always have the instrumental, and I used to rap over those. So I just wanted to start. I knew that producers who did make their beats always had like drum machines. That was the big thing, drum machines.
Right.
So the crown jewel of the drum machines at the time was an MPC, but
Yep,
at
yep.
the time those was like $800, $1,000 or something like that. And I was like, I can't afford that. So I ended up I ended up my mother ended up just looking out, giving me $500 to buy this Dr. Rhythm drum machine, a DR5 Dr. Rhythm. It had four tracks, three sounds and one drum track. So, and I thought that was like the now, mind you, I had four tracks to make beats with,
Yeah.
like four tracks, separate tracks, and I thought that was everything.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
oh, that's
it
all.
was. It was at that point, like technically,
Yeah,
besides like the
yeah,
MPC.
right. Well, the NPC had like 16 tracks. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
And but to me, so I ended up getting that drum machine, and the reason I always go back to that song is because I didn't know how to make beats, right?
Hmm.
So the only thing I knew was like, let me try to remake a beat, and that was the beat. That was the song that I sat and remade, and I sat in my room for so long, just completely fascinated by this drum machine that I had on these sweatpants that were like the plastic kind of sweatpants. When I had finally got up from the chair, I had sat there for so long that the paint peeled off my pants and was stuck to the chair. So I was,
Dedication.
yeah, it was crazy. Like, but I learned the drum machine, and I just became infatuated with making beats. You
Hmm.
know,
So you
so
were, and first of all, go back real quick when you said that when singles would come out on vinyl, the instrumental was on the B side, and you would just like rap over that. That's that's
yeah,
that's pretty cool. I didn't know
yeah,
that.
we used to buy tapes, right? So like the tape,
Yeah.
you could buy like they would always drop a single before the album. So let's say they drop a maxi single. On the A side had the single, and on the B side it'd have another record to the album, and then it might have the instrumental to the to the main song.
Hmm.
So that's how we used to get instrumentals, and that's how we used to rap to them. That's what we used to rap over. And I had a karaoke machine that had a mic and two tape decks, one to record on and one to play the music. So I used to just play the instrumental, and then I would rap and record myself onto the second side of the karaoke machine, onto another tape, onto a blank tape.
So you were recording with a karaoke machine.
Yeah, and I thought it was a studio. Like I was dead ass. Like, yeah, I got a studio, and this was a karaoke machine.
Well, what was it? Good quality?
Yeah, it was. It was. I mean, to my virgin ears back then, it was the best quality ever. But
Of
I'm pretty
course.
sure if I played it today, I'd be like, man, get that out of here. You know what I'm saying? But to me, it was
Understandable.
quality, and it was on a Walmart mic, an $8 Walmart. I'll never forget them because I always would break a mic, and I have to go to Walmart to buy one. They were eight. They were $8, and we used to hang them. We used to put like a nail in the ceiling and hang it, rig it somehow to where it just hangs.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, we thought that's how it was supposed to be.
Well,
So
there's nothing better than your first in general anybody's like first studio setup. You know,
uh,
you have any pictures of it? Do you think somewhere?
man, I wish I did, man, because I ain't gonna lie, like it'll humble you, especially
Yeah.
kids today or people, not kids, but just people in the music trying to do music at home and stuff. The stuff that y'all got today is unreal
Oh yeah.
compared to like what I had.
I can imagine, man.
You
It
know,
sounds like it, but that's super awesome. So now as you're learning to make beats and you are making beats, but you're still kind of rapping too, correct? Like a little bit.
yeah, I'm still rapping a little bit, but I'm making my own beats.
And we spoke about you told me that once you realized kind of a key turning point for you was that in the industry producers get paid before the artists, and
Yeah,
that kind of really influenced you to kind of go be more of a producer.
yeah, because I think the thing about me was I never took the music thing as a joke or as a hobby. I mean, from when I started rapping, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna blow up. I'm really gonna do this. This is what I'm doing. You know what I mean? I was dead set on it. There was no change in my mind. So I wanted to, I had learned. I would always read about the business and stuff like that, and I had read that producers and writers got paid first, and that made me think like, well, maybe I should just do the producing thing. you
Right.
know, because not only that, it's just that I was a great rapper. I really was, and I always say that to my friends. They laugh because they think I'm kidding, but I really was. If you talk anybody that knows me from then, they'll be like, yeah, Woo was actually dope. Uh, but the beats is what I was doing more of, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I would rather make 50 beats rather than write 5 rhymes, and then people would start taking heeds of my beats and being like,
Facts.
yo, like that, everybody would want to rap over it. They would want me to bring my little setup over their crib and make beats in front of them, and you know what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
that made me stick to that.
Cool, man. And you just said something that I was gonna. Oh yeah, you were talking about you were a good rapper. I'd listened to the Middle Eastern Massacre, the Slaughterhouse
Oh
tape that you produced, and that
yeah,
last track on there. I can't remember what it was called, but
for the people.
yeah, you were rapping on that, right?
Yeah, that was me. Yeah,
Yeah, you were dope. I was listening to it. I was like, I was delivering for Amazon. I was listening. I was like, okay, because it said everybody's name under who was like each song, like who was like the featured. And I was like, oh, okay. And you made all those beats, right?
yeah. I produced the whole thing. I recorded 99% of the songs, with the exception of like 2 records. So, and I wrote like half the hooks on that album.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Here
yeah,
I got a picture of the album pulled up. Yeah. Oh, you said you wrote half of it?
I wrote like I probably wrote like a third of the hooks.
The hooks. Okay, cool.
You know what I'm saying, for others for all the songs, but I did produce everything, and yeah, it was a good time, man. Like I had a great time doing that because I was kind of in my bag at that time because it was like that's all I did every day was just make beats
All like every day, all day.
every day, all day, and I really do mean that, and I mean like literally, I would not leave the studio for weeks at a time. And when I say I didn't leave, I really do mean I did not leave except to take a shower and then come right back,
And which
change right back.
what era or what time period is this, and what studio were you at doing this?
So this is this is when I had came back from New York. Um and we're kind of skipping, but I had came back from New York, and I meet this guy who ends up taking me in. This dude named George Slaughter, and through a couple mutual friends who I was like going to their studio in Frankfurt making beats. But I never met this guy George. I would just go to their studio and make beats for them, and the deal was like, all right, yo, you let me and my boys come up and rap on and use your studio to rap, and I'll make beats for y'all. And that's kind of how we had it. But then George got wind of me and was like, he wanted to meet me. We end up meeting, and this is like again, this is early 2000s, and I was like, yo, how much money you trying to spend on beats?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I don't know, 3-4 thousand. And you got to understand, like even 3-4 thousand today would be a lot,
Yeah,
but
for a beat, yeah.
in 2000, you know, three, that was unreal. You know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, all right, okay, cool. You kind of one ear out the other. I'm like, all right. So I leave, and then that following week or something like that, I'm at my boy's house, and again, another girl that I had a crush on was there, and I'm pulling out. I'm trying to show off because we got this rental van, and for some reason I thought I was really cool in a rental van. you know, and then I'm backing out of the driveway and I'm saying bye to her, or whatever. And I'm not looking, and it's dark outside, and her car's parked in front of the driveway, and I T-bone her car, and
Oof.
I'm like, oh my
Damn.
god, like, because it's super embarrassing, and she was like, oh my car, da da da, and then I asked her, she figured out how much it was gonna cost to get fixed. It was $800. I remember I went right back to George. And I was like, yo, I kind of like, I was like walking in there all puffy with my foot down, like, hey, look, man, if you want to do big, I'm gonna need a up front. I'm gonna need some money up front. And he was like, well, how much? I was like, I'm gonna need like $1,000. And he just pulls it out of his pocket and gives it to me. And it threw me off because I was like, okay, oh, you for real?
Yeah.
Like, you're not playing. So then I ended up going back, and he was like, and I remember that he had a Korg Triton. And I remember all his crew came in there. This is their first time meeting me, and I'm messing with the Triton, and I end up there's a song on that Middle East Massacre. It's a song that has an artist named Seasick. Uh, that was the first beat I ever made for them. But they was all like watching me to see that, almost like, man, is he dope for real? And I'm
Yeah.
in front of them, and they was like, oh yeah, he's the truth. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, so that was definitely a big moment. Like you really getting paid for your work.
I mean, yeah, and it was the first time I really got paid for my work in a real way, in a way that I felt like business was being done, and because of that, it made me kind of switch on the business gear. You know what I'm saying? Because not only did that, but he made sure he helped me with all my bills. Would just throw me bread every month, got me a crib in Frankfurt, got me a vehicle to travel back and forth to Louisville and Frankfurt. And it was like I understood that this is a business, and
Mm.
everybody brings some sort of value and should be
Facts.
compensated at
Yes, sir.
some on some sort of a level. And I'm glad that I got to learn that at a young age by meeting him, and and to this day, that's my brother. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's good that obviously you realize that that everybody has to bring something to the table, and it is a business. I mean, for real, it's
Yeah.
a cutthroat business, but it's that's how it works. So real quick, you said we skipped ahead a little bit. Just I tell us a little bit about. I've got some questions I want to ask pertaining to when you went to New York and then came back to Louisville.
Right.
So just kind of tell us the story about when you went to New York, and just give us a little rundown of what happened.
So yeah. So like in Radcliffe, I had kind of became what I would call homeless. I was pretty much homeless. Hold on one second. Let me start this car real quick. To
Oh, good.
start this battery. Sorry guys. Uh,
All good.
but but yeah. So I'm in Radcliffe, and I'm pretty much homeless. And I grew up with these dudes from Chicago, and these are my brothers. So I'm just bouncing around their cribs, trying to sleep on a couch here, trying to sleep, whatever. And one night we just all standing outside chilling, and one of them hits me and was like, "Yo, Woo, my cousin in New York, he needs an engineer. You want to go to New York?" And I was like, "Yo, I don't have nothing to lose. Like, sure, why not?" So I end up, getting ready to go to New York. I had to pay for the ticket. So what I did was me. What's crazy is that my parents didn't live in Radcliffe anymore, but we still had a house. My dad's mail still came to that house.
Hmm.
So I would periodically have to go check the mail to make sure it don't get over flooded. Put the mail in the house or whatever, even though
Right.
there's no whatever. Uh, so I go check the mail like that same week, and it just so happens he gets an income tax uh, return check. And back then, a plane ticket would be an average plane ticket was $350. The check was for exactly $350. So I took my dad's check. I went to the bank where his bank was. I deposited the check because he still had an open account. I went back home, and the next day I got his checkbook that he had. Wrote myself out a check for $350. Went back to the bank, went through the drive-through, gave it to him, and they cashed me out $350. And so on my way to New York. I'm driving to New York, me and my best friend. No, I mean on my way to the airport, because back then you had to go to the airport to buy tickets. So we on the way to the airport. It's a big ass semi truck cuts in front of me. I swerve off the road, jump the curb, and we slam into this metal pole. Completely total the car.
Jeez.
We slam into the windshield. At the time, I was in trouble. I was running from court. I had like a bench warrant. The police come, they start questioning everybody. I had told my best friend, I was like, "You got to tell them you drove." But this is like 4 o'clock rush hour traffic. There's a whole audience that seen what happened.
Mm.
So he's standing out there. The police come, and he was like, "Who was the driver?" And I was like, my best friend was like, "It was me, officer." Da da da. And he pulled me to the side. He goes to talk to somebody. He comes back. He was like, "Well, why is everybody telling me you're the driver?" And and then I just was straight up like, "Look, man, I got a warrant." So I'm thinking my New York day is over. and he runs my name and all that. There's no warrant. He's like, see, man, I don't know why you tried to lie. You don't have a warrant. So I'm completely baffled. So then, so I leave. I hurry up and get out of there. Leave the
Yeah.
car there. I never got the car back. I said, fuck the car. Uh, I leave. Um, and then the next day, I got up to the airport, and I got to New York. And when I got to New York, as soon as I got to Queens, as soon as I got off the train, the studio was right across the street. They came and got me, and within the first hour that I was in New York, I was already like running the session on equipment that I've never seen before. So I had to literally figure it out
Hey,
in
nice,
real
man.
time.
Wow. It's quite a couple of days.
Yeah, man. And then the crazy thing is that after the first month, I ended up coming back home for a second, and I look in the mail, and I got it's a letter from the court saying that they showed the date that they issued my bench warrant, and it just so happened to be the date after I got into that accident.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I lucked out big time.
Huh. Somebody's watching out for you.
Yeah, man.
That's
So
amazing. All right. So now that, how long were you in New York?
I was in New York back and forth for several years, probably like three. I want to say 3 or 4 years. I ended up staying with this dude named Chris, who kind of took me in. His family just kind of like, because when I got up there, I was staying in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't, I wasn't. The dude would come get me like maybe twice a week. So I was in there for the most part, sleeping on the futon. No, then never really got my hair cut. I was just looking crazy. Wasn't really taking showers like that because I couldn't get to a shower. But I was cool because I was like, I got a place to stay. You know what I mean? That's how I looked at it.
Right.
Uh, and he would give me like $20 to go get food. But that would have to last me like a few days. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So my homie, this dude named Chris, who would come to the studio, he was like, "Yo, man, you wanna come take a shower or something?" And I was like, yeah, I love
Yes, please.
it. You know what I mean? And I end up going to his crib, and his family I just never left. That was that. Like, you know what I'm saying? His
Wow.
family just, yeah. That's one of my best friends to this day. And so I was up there off and on for years, man. And I've done a lot of stuff up there. I've met a lot of people. And this is before camera phones. So the only type way I could take a picture was with a wind up camera, right?
Right.
And I didn't want to buy a wind up camera all the time. And but I would be around celebrities because the dude I was up there with, Billy, he really knew these people. He would
Yeah.
take me around these people. It wasn't no cap.
Mm-hmm.
But the funny thing is this, just a little side note. So like, a lot of people ask me why I always take pictures and I mean mug, right? Here's the story to that. Here's the truth behind that. So when I would take pictures, remember I said we had wind up cameras, right?
Right.
Nowadays, you take a picture, you can look at it. Let's do it again. Look at it. No, let's do it again. All right, that's the one. When you had a wind up camera, you took one picture and that was it. And then you just crossed your fingers, right? Because you had to go get them developed and all that stuff. And so I would meet people like DJ Clue, Foxy Brown, and other celebrities, and I would take pictures with these people. And I'm always like pumped and hyped and like super excited. And then when I get the picture back, they look like they ready to leave. So I was like, damn. So I would never take those pictures back home because I look like an idiot. So so what happened was it clicked in my head. I was like, the next time I take a picture with a celebrity, I'm gonna just act like I'm ready to go. And so I started doing the meme mug face, like, all right, let's hurry up, take this picture, Jay
Right.
Z, hurry up. You know what I mean? So that way, if the artist wasn't, I didn't look crazy. It looked like we was both not wanting to take the picture, but we did it, whatever. And it just became a habit, and so that's why I take pictures like that.
That's funny. So the your friend, who are some of these? You told me that you were meeting, like, you went in the Def Jam building a few times and you were meeting like big executives. Who were some of those people?
I used to go. So Bill used to take us to Mike Kaiser's office, and you know, I don't know if anybody knows who Mike Kaiser. Just look him up.
Yeah.
He's a real popular executive. But we used to go in his office, and at the time, I didn't know who he was. I didn't learn till later, like how crazy that was to be in his office.
Was
Or have the opportunity to go there. What was you about to say?
was he there? Did you get to meet him?
Yeah, we used to sit in his office and talk to him.
Oh, wow.
because Billy, my dude Billy, knew him. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
My boy Billy would be like, "Yo, man, can we give us a deal, Mike?" And da da da. Uh, and Mike would be like, "Man, y'all not ready," and whatever. Then he used to take me to Murder Inc. I met Chris Gotti a long time ago. I had an opportunity to go produce for Irv Gotti, and this is back when Murder Inc. was popular. And but just due to some other reasons, my boy Billy didn't take me. Um, and so but I just had crazy opportunities. I ended up one time, me and Bill kind of fell out. He just kind of disappeared on me for about a month, and so I ended up, me and Chris ended up linking with this kid named Daytona, which is his homie. And Daytona was signed to Jive or J Records at the time, and he would record out of this studio in New Jersey, and he invited us out there. When we got out there, the room that he was always in with the people he knew, I went in there and one night we just chilling. There's two girl groups that's being produced, a girl group called Lyric and one called Anthem. And you know, so we stay overnight one night, and I while everybody's asleep, I sampled Biggie's 10 Crack Commandments and made it super R&B. And I remember like, the dude coming in the next day, and I'm playing the beat, and he walks in, he's listening to it. This dude named Henny, he's listening to it, and he goes, "Yo, who made that beat?" And I was like, I did. And and then he was like, "Yo, you can come back here anytime you want to. Like, just come in and make beats." I'm like, "Bet," because at the time I was like down and out a little bit. So we end up linking with him. I'm making beats, and then I come home one day. I go back to Kentucky one day, and I literally from the airport in the car get to the apartment, go upstairs, sit on the bed, turn on the TV, and I'm watching this MTV news clip. It's Kurt Loder, the MTV logo is spinning, and I'm watching this building on fire, and there's this green Range Rover in the video, and I'm looking like, dang man, it looks like the Range Rover at the studio. And then I'm reading as they scroll messages on the bottom says legendary Sugar Hill studio burns to the ground due to electrical fire. And then I found out that the room I was in was a room that Puffy was using to develop these girl groups.
Yeah. Wow.
So like yeah.
That was like, God, I can't even. That was probably just like a smack in the face. I mean, you were saying you were just there.
Yeah, I was just there like the day before. The crazy thing is this, man. I got a lot of moments like that in my life, but I never looked at them like in a negative way. What the crazy thing is that those were the moments that kept me going, because I felt like I always got my foot in the door somewhere a little bit.
And then, yeah.
Yeah, it just made me all right. Let me try this again. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm every time I get somewhere, and it just kept me going, and so I never look at those as like, dang, I didn't make it. Maybe this ain't for me. I always look at it as like, oh, this is a sign. This is for me. Let me keep trying. Let me
Keep
tweak
trying,
my
yeah.
process. Let me change up what I'm doing and try again. And obviously it worked. So
Yeah, for sure. And you said, so Puffy, for I'm sure most people know who that is, but non-music people, that's Diddy. So he was developing these two girl groups.
yeah, he was developing these girl groups, and but the studio burnt down, and I think they literally lost all the music, everything.
Sheesh. Did you meet Diddy?
No, I never met Diddy. No,
Oh, okay.
never. Like, I guess the A&Rs or whatever were just working with the girl groups, and that's where they had them come to all the time.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah. So that's a pretty big smack in the face. But like you said, that moment you knew that like you just got to keep doing it and keep doing it, even
Yeah.
though like you just would get your foot in the door and then things would happen. But so when you came back from New York,
hmm
and you're like, all right, this is definitely what I want to do. You told me that you got back to Louisville, and it was just slow. Louisville was slow compared to New York. What did you mean by
Yeah.
that?
See, like in New York, it's like if you a rapper or you a producer, whatever, you got 20 other people competing for your exact position. So you got to be on the ball. Like you got to be moving.
Yeah,
And I understood that. It's like if you ain't moving, you're gonna get lost in the sauce, because it's like
facts.
it's 100 people trying to do what you,
Yes,
or it's
yes,
a
Q.
thousand people doing the same thing you're trying to do,
Hmm.
and at that time, Kentucky, Louisville, for instance, wasn't like that. It wasn't. I came from a scene in New York. I came from a scene where everybody was trying to do music, to a scene in Louisville where you didn't know, you didn't even know of any rappers unless you knew. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it was very slow to me. In New York, they used to hustle mixtapes all the time. We used to go on the Ave, on Jamaica Ave, buy mixtapes all the time. When I came back home, nobody had mixtapes, so I started getting CDs sent to me, and I would burn them at my crib on the computer, and then I would make my own labels, and I would take them, I would drive them out here to Louisville, and I would park at gas stations, and and knock CDs. I used to do that all the time. If anybody knows I think it's a Thornton's down on 18th Street, across the street from the rallies. I used to be there all the time and would hustle my CDs, and that's how I paid some of my bills at the time.
So you made a lot of sales with those
Yeah, I did.
CDs.
All right. I would be like, I'm not leaving Louisville until I make, $40. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how my mentality was. So I'd have to sell 8 CDs. And that's just how I thought.
So what was that like? Like, how, would people just like walk past you and you'd be like, "Hey, like here's my CD, $5," or what was that process kind of like hustling CDs?
I was a pretty good salesman because I never came at nobody like that. Like, I never came at like, yo, I got CDs for sale. It was always like, yo, you heard have y'all heard the Eminem? Because I knew I had exclusive shit, because people didn't have this from New York. It's like,
Right, right.
from DJs in New York, that the songs that DJ Cool was doing, you didn't hear him down here.
So you're the plug.
Yeah, I was like, yo, y'all heard that? Y'all heard the Eminem on Tupac's Hail Mary, and they'd be like, what? And then I'd be playing in my car. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, I got the CD. Yo, I'm knocking these for $5. Yeah, let me get that. And again, I would have labels, so it didn't look too. I mean, it was. You look at it now, it was cheesy, but back then it wasn't cheesy. Um, so I would approach people from a position of like, yo, have you heard this? If you haven't, check it out. If you have, whatever. If you don't want to hear it, cool. But I never would hit them like, yo, I got CDs, man. Come buy the CD. It was never that.
Huh. Cool. So that's pretty awesome. I mean, I've run into people that not really, not I guess not too much in Louisville that are selling CDs, but like when I was in LA, but that's totally different. Or like at the beach. But
Yeah.
I don't think I've run into. So you were kind of the first person doing it that you could see in Louisville.
I would say that I was, because
Right, right.
I don't remember anybody doing that at that
Hmm.
time. And I don't mean like, maybe if you go to Better Days West at the time, they probably had mixtapes there. I'm just saying the kid who was popping at the gas station, have a bunch of CDs popping out the trunk with it. I didn't see nobody doing that. You know,
Right.
maybe after that, a bunch of people was doing that, but for the time being, I didn't see nobody doing
So what year is this now?
that. Damn. That's a hard one.
It
I want to say it was shortly after. Uh, and you can look this up. Look up when Jay-Z and Nas dropped Ether.
yeah.
What year was that?
Uh,
Hold on one second.
are you good? 2001.
Okay, yeah, so 2001. That was 2001. Yeah, I was down Louisville hustling mix CDs.
So where did your journey go from there after you came back from Louisville? You're hustling, selling CDs, or did you start producing for artists in Louisville? Or again, you said there
So
really wasn't, you didn't know any rappers.
yeah, so I'm hustling mixtapes, right? And then I end up meeting this dude named Twin in Radcliffe, right? I still ain't living in Louisville at the time. I meet this dude named Twin, and me and him got real cool, and I go to his crib, and he has an MPC. And remember, I told you it's like the Holy Grail.
Oh yeah, no, I know
I'm,
about.
I'm like blown away, like, oh shit, he's got an MPC.
Yeah.
And so he's like, man, go mess with it. Like, so I'm messing with it, and he could tell immediately that I kind of knew what I was doing. I was figuring it out. And so then, and I used to I had rented one a long time ago when I was with this crew called Affiliation. These three dudes from my hometown. But so I kind of knew what I was doing. So I started messing with it. I started going over there. Me and him started hanging out, and me and him just got real tight. And he was in the military, so it'd be times where he would go to the field, and he would be gone for 2 weeks. And he would be like, "Yo, man, if you want, here's my key. If you want to just come to my crib and make beats, you can." And that was just love, because
Yeah.
you know, I'm like, what? So I would just go to his crib every day and just make beats. And so now I got an MPC. He's got like a couple sound modules, and I'm just making these crazy beats. Um, I go to Louisville, and I go to Louisville and I start taking these. I was already hustling mixtapes, so I was like, well, shit, I'm gonna burn 10, 15 beat CDs, and then I started finding out these events to go to, and I found this battle that was going on. I go to this battle, and I walk in and I meet this dude named Father Ja. This dude named Father Ja. I walk up to him, I'm like, yo, I'm a producer. I got beats, and he's like, yo, if you really want to produce, you need to talk to that dude. And he points to this dude in the corner, just dark ass corner, dude with a hoodie just sitting there minding his own business like he don't even want to be there. I walk up to him and I'm like, yo, I'm Woo. I make beats, and I gave him a beat CD. This dude turns out happens to be a dude named Native, who, if anybody knows, Native is a Louisville legend too. Uh, so Native calls me the next day and was like, hey man, come to my crib ASAP. So I get me and my boy hop in this whip. We go to Louisville. We sit down and talk. And he's like, "Man, look, I'm signed to Blackground Universal. I got a situation. You need to be my producer." And that's kind of it. Just happened like that. And the next thing I know, every day I'm at his crib at 8 in the morning, every day, watching him make. I would bring beats. He would write songs at his dinner table every morning, and then he would take me around the city. We would go hang out, see people. He introduced me to Static, because him and Static was real tight. That's how I got to work with Static in the studio. Um, and he just started introducing me to everybody, and it started to build my reputation up as a producer in Louisville. So that's how my name started to get out from that. And then from that is where I transitioned, where I started doing beats for my boy, who knew my guy George Slaughter. That's when that
Yeah.
kind of took place.
Okay, so yeah, real quick, um, you worked a little bit with Static. You know Tim Barnett.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I know Barnett. Yeah.
he was my AAU coach when I was in middle school at Focus.
Oh God, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I knew Tim. I knew Vent West. But yeah, I know Barnett though.
Yeah, I was just curious. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so then that's really cool what you said about every morning you were just sitting with Native at his dinner table making beats for like every day. Like, so was he like working on an album or something at that time?
He was working. He was just recording records, and I would just go to his crib, and I would just sit there, and he would be writing them to music, and I would bring beats down, and he would just listen to them, and then start writing songs to him, and we would go to the studios to record and stuff like that. And he would introduce me to everybody in the city, like, because the kind of the thing that me and Native had was like, what he would do is kind of like a little strategic thing we did unknowingly. It was like we would be in somebody's studio or something. And he would just be like, he'd play my beats. So people be rapping, but then they would be like, "Yo, man, where'd you get these beats from?"
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then he would just like nod to me, and I'm like the quiet kid in the corner. He'd be like, "From that dude right there," and then everybody be like, "Oh shit, this him," and that's how my name started to buzz a little bit, in the city or whatever.
Okay, cool. So, and we talked a little bit earlier about George Slaughter, and you were kind of getting into it again. And tell us about the Slaughterhouse. Not the. This is for rap people and listening familiar with the Slaughterhouse. There's like Joe Budden and
Yeah,
the who Royce 5'9" and Eminem and all them. But this is not that. This is not that. This is like a group you said kind of, I guess, similar, as many people as there was in Wu Tang,
yeah.
and everybody was from Kentucky in that group.
Everybody was from everywhere, man. We
Oh, okay.
had right, we had a couple people from Kentucky, some from Radcliffe, a girl, Miss P. She was from Kansas, Missouri. uh, you know, Buck, who was from Virginia. You know, they were just from all over. Uh, you know, most of them was from Kentucky, but spread out like from different parts of Kentucky.
Hmm.
But no, they weren't all from like the same area. But we somehow congregated in Frankfurt because everybody was in Frankfurt at the time.
Yeah. And
So
and so you start working with, and Native was in that group, correct?
no, Native wasn't in the group. That was just my boy. You know, it was just like my big brother. So he would just. I was like, well, I got a studio. You can come use this, come record whenever you want. And I just
Oh,
sit up.
okay.
I just engineer whenever you need me to. So it would just come up there all the time.
Was uh was Native on the Middle Eastern Massacre tape?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he
Okay,
was.
that's where I thought that then. Okay, because I saw
No,
his name on the.
see, the Middle East Massacre tape that I did it was like a compilation. It was like
Okay,
me, a bunch of people from Kentucky, different places, you know. And I don't even think nobody's done that again to this day. I
like a
think I'm the only person.
like a compilation where you produce the whole album and there's people on it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cool. So now you're tied in with Slaughterhouse, and you're talk about some of your work with them. Besides the, you did the Middle East, but who? Just tell us about your experience with them.
Um, you said about experiences with them.
Yeah, with the Slaughterhouse. Typically, I mean, I'm thinking of
Yeah, man.
yeah.
It's I'll tell you like this, man. So we had a studio and we had 24/7 access to it. George fed everybody. He made sure we had alcohol, whatever we wanted, right?
Yeah.
And it's like 8 or 9 of us at any given time in the studio. We used to go in that studio, and we used to stay in that studio for so long. Like we would take turns sleeping. Uh, you know, I recorded pretty much everybody all the time, made all the beats, and we just go in there from sun up to sundown, and we did not leave, and we would record records all day, every day. And you know, it when I see artists today, a lot of artists can go and record like one song every couple weeks or something like that. We was recording 3, 4 songs a day.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And you know, it was just a dope. It was a dope thing to experience because I'm working with so many different personalities. It actually put me in a position where I started my beat diversity was really wide
Yeah.
because I could kind of make different styles of beats and stuff like that. And through that, you know, so at the time there was this lady named Wendy Day who
Yeah.
did consultants.
Hmm.
She consulted for artists and she's like a legend in the music business.
Yeah.
And George had hired her to consult for us, and she liked our group. So she ended up flying into town to meet us. We got to meet her. And when we met her, she gave us a whole marketing plan. And you know, she came the first day she came in. She said, where's the other producers?" And they was like, "There ain't no other producers. It's just him." And she was kind of blown away by that. Like, yo, he's the only producer, and he's making all this music. So, you know, that was a dope thing. And then because I got to meet her at such an early age, I got really interested in the business side of things because she was you know, she gave us a marketing strategy. She went out on the road with us and did it with us, like in the middle of the night, in the middle of these hoods, just slapping up wheat paste and posters everywhere, illegally. And then she that and everything she said we was gonna see from that, we really did see, and that's what got me super interested on the business side of it and like the marketing side of it, because it let me know that there's a whole nother side of this that we wasn't even understanding at the time.
Right. So that kind of sparked your interest in the business side, you could say.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely, yeah, because it was like, you know what I'm saying? It's like the Wizard of Oz. It's like somebody she pulled back the veil and was like, "Oh, you didn't know that this was here." You know what I'm saying? So it just let me know that it gave me an edge because I would look at other artists that didn't have nobody like that, and I would be like, "Yeah, you don't even know to do this or this." You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And then I would look at other big artists signed to major labels, and I would see the things that they do that was similar to what she had us doing. So it just connected dots to me in my brain.
Right. So is that kind of like a point where, I mean, you're a manager now, correct? You manage
Yeah,
artists.
yeah.
When did that start? Was that kind of like the start of that? I mean, you definitely like sparked your interest, but when did you really start managing?
Well, that wasn't the start of the manage. It was more so the start of me just wanting to understand the
Yeah.
business more,
Right.
understanding the other side to it.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was, shortly after that, my boy George gets, he gets locked up for some things or whatever, and it kind of ended everything that we was doing as a group because it just everything failed because he was financing everything.
Right.
So when that happened, kind of like stuck on my own, and uh, uh, I ended up having a daughter at the time. This is right about 2005. I ended up having a daughter, and I kind of was like, ah, man, I kind of got to buckle down for real. Really, like, part of me was like, man, I gotta man up. Like, I got a kid now. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I gotta kind of have something a little more or whatever. So I went and ended up getting a job at Humana. Still did music when I could, but that kind of took. I never had a job up to that point, so it was very new to me and hard to handle. So I'm working the job, and um, but I stayed in the mix, right? And so what happened was I still went to events and things like that, but I wasn't active on making beats like that or whatever. But I knew everybody though. That was the thing. So it's like if a person was to come up to me and be like, "Yo, who does beats? Or you got any beats, fool?" I'm like, "Man, not really at the moment, but let me tell you about my boy." And I'll start being the guy who knew everybody, and I would introduce everybody to everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, you need graphics? Let me introduce you to my homegirl. Or you need a studio? Let me take you to my boy's crib. And my word kind of became gold because it was like, oh, if you need to know something about the music, go ask Woo. If anybody knows, Woo's gonna know. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I started becoming like this connected guy who just knew everybody, and I was like the source. If you needed something, you come holler at me. I point you in the right direction, and whoever I vouched for, my word was so strong that whoever I vouched for, you didn't really second guess. If you say that this guy's gonna do a good job and I need to pay him this, that's what I'm gonna do.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, and so and I saw the value that I saw the value in that because another thing I had learned from an early age is that some of the best businessmen are the best middlemen. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying?
Ooh. Nice. Yeah.
Facts.
What
You
do
know,
you? So
Yes,
what do
sir.
you mean exactly
so
by
I
that?
learned that
What?
some of the best businessmen are
Yeah.
simple that know how to connect dots. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So, hold on one second.
No, you good.
Sorry about that.
You good.
But yeah, so that uh that's how I got into that state of mind. And so over time, I just kept doing that, and then what happened was is that I was at an event. I meet this kid. Hold on. Actually, yeah, he's got a. Hold on one second. My bad. Hold on.
No, you good.
Might have to take you on a ride with me. With me.
You good. You good.
Let me see. But uh, but yeah. So I uh, I started getting. So what happened was I go to this event. There's this young kid producer comes up to me and is like, yo, because my name is a name around the city, and he was like, yo, I would love to work with you. Da da da. I'm like, all right, cool. And then, come to find out he lives in Bowling Green, and then he would call me randomly and be like, yo, big homie, you in the studio? Yeah, I'd like to come up. And I'm like, all right, come up. I guess,
Mm-hmm.
not him seriously, but then he showed up, and I'm like, okay. So I would take him to the studio, let him make beats, and we would make beats together. And, but then I still didn't know this kid, and he would still just call me and be like, what are you doing, bro? And I used to be like, why are you calling me all the time? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Uh, but come to find out, this kid turns out to be Ness. who's now one of a dope ass producer doing his thing, like producing for Drake, getting #1 records, all of that. And you know, but back then, I would shop his beats to people, and people didn't wasn't feeling them, and I used to be confused because I thought they was the greatest.
Uh-oh. Well, it's calling back. He thought he was the greatest.
Yo, you good?
Yeah,
My
yeah,
bad.
yeah. No, you good, you good. But all good. You said Nessa's beats were you thought they were the greatest.
Yeah, I thought they were the greatest beats ever. So it made me take off the whole hat of like I'm a producer too to now. Hold on, I'm gonna convince y'all that he's the shit. And it kind of that was the first time I ever kind of put on a manager hat. Not that I was his manager or nothing, but it just so that's got me into that role. And then what happened was later on, a couple years down the road, because what happened was I would start using my resources to get us situations, and then Ness was like my right hand man. Me and him just did everything together. We never said no to situations. Anything that came up, we was like, let's do it. When we go to New York, somebody just call us, say, come to New York, we go. Things like that. And we had a couple situations happen. That again, more situations that was an inkling of keep going and don't stop.
Yeah.
And then he ends up getting a situation with Bryson, which was dope. And then shortly after that, this kid hits me up on Instagram by the name of Blasian. I didn't take him serious the first time. I thought it was, I was like, you probably rapping about a bunch of crazy shit that I'm not interested in. But then I checked
Damn.
his music. That same week, my boy hit me up, was like, "Yo, you heard this kid named Blasian?" I thought he was being funny, because I'm actually Blasian. So I thought I didn't. It didn't even click that he was talking about the art. I thought he was just being funny. And then my little homie Ian, who was at the time like 12 years old or something like that, he was like, "Yo, Woo, you should check out this kid named Blasian." And I was like, "Yo, that's like 3 times in 1 week." So I check him out. I see the record he's got, and in the video, first of all, I love the song, and then in the video, I see this lady, his mother, and his mother is a childhood friend of mine that I haven't seen since we was like 16. So I was like,
Wow.
yeah, that's crazy. So I link up with him. We start chopping it up. At first, I wasn't trying to be a manager. It was more so of just trying to give him advice. But then, I saw some people that was trying to get at him that I knew wasn't like good. They weren't really good business people, and I just kind of like filled that role. I was like, well, you know what? Maybe I should manage you because these guys ain't good. These guys are terrible. And then we just worked, and we ended up getting him signed, and and then through that, my name got even bigger. And shortly, or while we was working, he ended up having a situation, unfortunately, that had him lose his deal. And then me and him went our separate ways shortly after that. But then out of nowhere, a lot of people don't notice. While I was working with Blasian, a young girl by the name of Mars hit me up. Well, she wasn't even named Mars. She had this long name. Uh, she DMs me. I check her out. I think she's dope. We link up. I get my boy Buku to do her like first ever photo shoot. And I tell her like the braids and the bandana. I said never change that. Like keep that. That's your look.
Yeah, for sure.
And I said also change your name because her name was like some crazy long name, but right in the middle of her name was Mars, and I was like, you should call yourself Mars. You know what I'm saying? And she
Yeah,
was like, and then what happened was she looked on Instagram, Mars wasn't available, but Marzz was, and I was like, that's even better.
for
You know what
sure.
I'm saying? So boom, so that goes Mars. But then I got too busy with Blasian, so me and her went our separate ways so over the next several months, me and her didn't really talk. She ended up working with somebody else. It didn't go right, and like a couple days after me and Blasian kind of went our separate ways, um, And just for anybody, like me and Blazing the cool, like it's, he's still the homie. He's very talented, so don't get it twisted. Because I used to have some couple people hit me up like, "Yo, that's crazy, Blaze," and I'm like, "I don't do that, bro. Like, don't call me talking shit about somebody that you wouldn't say to their face." You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
Um, so my opinion is my opinion of it, but it's my personal opinion. But I'm not gonna talk bad about him to you, and I don't because I don't talk bad about him. Period. But so it was cool. We went our separate ways, whatever. But then like 2 days after that, Mars hit me up again and was like out of nowhere. I ain't talked to her for about 4 months, and she was like, my situation isn't going the way it's supposed to. I need some help. Can you help me? And that turned into like, can we work together? And I was like, hell yeah, we could work together. And then about 60 days after that, she was signed to a major label.
What label?
She signed to Keep Cool RCA.
RCA. That is a big label. Wow.
Yeah,
So she steps in for your help, and a couple months later she got a deal. Like 2 months
yeah,
later, really. Well, that's
yeah.
big,
About
man. Well, congratulations.
no, I appreciate it, man. So, but yeah, that's my journey, man. It's probably a little bit more to it, but
I mean,
that's part. That's
yeah, man. I appreciate it because that's some good stuff in there. Great. You definitely got the accolades, and you're the man to know. Like you said, man. It sounds like it, and I know you are too, man. You're the middleman in Louisville for sure.
no,
And
I appreciate it.
but the biggest thing I want to ask is, big topic on this show. We talk a lot about with a lot of other artists, the business in Louisville, like currently. What do you see that is like good about the Louisville music business, and then what is things that you see that are just not good? I just want to hear from somebody because I know that you really
Um,
know.
all right. So look, I'm gonna give you this answer. Let me hop in this other car. I'm about to. I need to take this little ride real quick, but I'm gonna take y'all with me. All right, give me
All
one
right, bet.
second.
Yeah, no problem.
Y'all gonna hang out with me for a second?
Day in the life of Jon Woo.
Right. Yeah, where's my buddy? Yeah. Hold on one second. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm selling the interview. I'm gonna have to dip out. That was like, cool. Huh? I'm gonna have to dip out. Yeah, yeah. You finishing that up? All right. You ready? Okay. Put the chemicals I was using back up over there. Let me. Can I shout out my boy real fast?
Go ahead, yeah. Go ahead.
You want to shout out this guy right here? And you gotta say what up. It's his business. That's what he does. He details whips.
Oh man.
Stays super busy. You know what I mean?
Are you getting
Just to
your
get
are
at
you
him.
are you getting your car detailed?
Yeah, yep.
Oh, nice.
I'm ready when you are. All right, we gonna roll. All right, all right, that's cool. All right, I'll call you. I got to do this interview. I bet you never had this on one of your interviews, huh?
Nah, nah. This is a special episode. This is the season finale, so there's no. But we'll wrap it up here soon. I just wanted to ask you about that business side of Louisville. What you thought and what you
Uh,
see.
so on the business side, you can hear me good, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. On the business side, man, what was the question again?
What do you see in the Louisville music business that's good and bad? Things that just don't work and things that do.
Um, I think one of the biggest things I think is a negative here is that a lot of people don't fully research the business on how things work.
Hmm.
And what happens is they kind of guess their way through it. And when they don't get the right answers, they kind of get frustrated when really the answers are like literally in a Google search. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's one of my biggest pet peeves, and I just wish that artists or anybody that want to be in the business, they would just do some research, man. Because like you wouldn't wake up and want to be a cook and for a restaurant, you wouldn't try to guess your way through it to learn how to cook, right? You probably go to school or something.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, man. Like, do look up find the information because it's all there. So that's my biggest pet peeve is that people don't. They just don't do the knowledge to what they
Right.
want to.
What's some of the best things that you see happening?
Some of the best things that I see is that there is, whether I don't know, maybe I have a different perspective because I run the thing called Producer Corner,
Yes, yes.
but there is a big community, and the fact that we're very close in proximity. That we're very close in proximity. There's so many different variations of talent here, but we're all very close to each other. So, like when people come to my producer corner, it's super diverse.
Hmm.
That's that I love about Louisville. That it's very diverse, and everybody can link with each other and help each other. And there's a lot of talent here too. There's like a lot of talent here, that just needs to be groomed.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. Well, I just wanted to get that perspective from somebody who really knows, man. Um, but John, man, I really appreciate your time, and I can't thank you enough for doing this big episode, man. Lot of clout. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. I love what you're doing. It looks great. Appreciate you for having me. Do
Absolutely.
apologize. I had to get on the move, man, but
Nah, it's all good. I appreciate, I'm glad we could do it. Any last words? Any words of advice to a starting artist in Louisville, or any closing comments?
I would just say that, I would say for any artist just on a level of life, is that, to understand struggle is a sign for change, to really understand that. So if you're doing music or whatever and something's not going right, to
Yes,
not get frustrated is just really, that's actually beneficial to you, because if something's not going right, that's simply telling you to change something. And if you can really embrace that, you will get better very fast. And that's it. And not to get frustrated, because I know a lot of artists who don't get anywhere and then they blame everything on everybody else, and it's like that's not really accurate.
Yeah, exactly. Not accurate at all.
So just, yeah, struggle is a sign for change, man, and failure is your friend. You know what
Failure's your friend. Facts, bro.
I mean? I fell on my face plenty of times, man, but I'm very happy to be where I'm at right now. It was all worth it.
Hell yeah. Great, man. Great. Well, John, anything else? Any? That's all I got for you today, man.
Nah, that's it, man. Look forward to more producer corners coming. If you never been, hit me up. Pull up. I usually do them at the end of last Sunday of every month.
Okay.
Uh, Pull up, and you come see the music community in its entirety here in the city. And and just support each other, man. Work with each other. Bring value to the table for each other. Don't nickel and dime each other. If we do shit together more as a community, we'll get to where we all want to go faster.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's all, man. That's all.
Well, John, again, I appreciate you so much, and you telling your story, coming on here, and taking the time. But I'll let you go, and have a good day, man.
I appreciate it, man. Looking forward to seeing this out.
I bet, and I appreciate the kind words you had for me in the podcast. Thanks, man.
Thank you, man.
All right,
bro.
Talk soon, bro.
All right, bro.
All right, man. Great show. Great show. Yeah, so he was talking about his producer corner is basically just bringing everybody, all creatives in Louisville. I think now he does it where you have to sign up ahead of time, and there's only you have to RSVP. But basically, it's this pulled up right here, and producers and creatives just come together, and a lot of people play some of their music, and it's just a good event community to be at if you're any type of creative in Louisville. Just meet other people, and that's how I first met John, was there. And yeah, so I think he said he's doing those on Sundays now. They used to be, when they first started, it was on Mondays. I think he did 2 of them, and then COVID happened, and so but I think he started them back up not too long ago. But yeah, I appreciate everybody tuning in. We didn't do the Lush lockdown, but I kind of wanted to give y'all my take on the Lush lockdown. I never really answered any of these questions that I ask all my guests. So, Kevin, you're in the Lush lockdown. All right, the biggest question, if I had $10 in my pocket, where I'd go to eat in Louisville, I would say Indies, but I haven't been there in so long. Joella's. I'd probably go to Joella's, to be honest. I don't know. I'd probably have to get a decently small meal for under $10, but yeah. Some favorite venue, I'll ask a lot of artists that, is probably, I guess I'm not doing my timer here. 10 seconds. Favorite venue, probably Headliners Music Hall. That was a cool place. That's where I saw Jack Harlow open up for Vince Staples, and then, of course, saw Vince there. But Jack Harlow wasn't, I mean, he wasn't popping at that point, I'll say that. This was senior year of high school. But yeah, what else do I usually ask in here? I don't know. I guess it kind of varies. But yeah, so guys, it's been 30 episodes. Season 3's come to a close. What better way to do it than have Jon Woo on here? And I'm going to be back with Season 4 sometime in June, probably early, middle June. Just I'm going to take some time off and really dive into getting some more connections, more traction with the show. But I will say I have done much better this season in terms of getting views and people tuning in, leaving comments, and watching the episodes. And I really appreciate everybody doing that. It really means a lot, and it's been a great journey doing this. Every Saturday. It's a lot, and it's fun, man. I've met people like John. I've met other artists and reconnected with people from high school that I went to high school with. It's been really, really fun. And but yeah, so just stay tuned, be on the lookout for Season 4, and we're only going up from here. So yeah, again, thank you all, love you all. Shout out Louisville. 502 Come Up is real, and the goal is the same. We're shining light on Louisville native creatives and their work. I will see you all in June.